Hello everyone, myself Dr. Jyoti Gangurde, Assistant Professor of Zoology, KTHM College Nasik. Students, in previous lecture, we already discussed regarding the biology of Yersinia fetida. Now, in today's lecture, we are going to discuss on the vital cycle of the Yersinia fetida. Now, the vital cycle of the Yersinia fetida, which includes the alimentation. Alimentation means the food or whatever the habitat is there, okay, food and feeding habitat is included in the alimentation, whereas the fecundity, now fecundity, it is also a fertility. After that, the annual reproducer potential and limit factors such as gases, diet, humidity, temperature, pH, light, as well as climatic factors. Okay, now we can discuss all these factors in detail one by one. Now, the first one is the element. Now, in case of Yersinia fetida, which is feeding on dead and decaying organic matters. Now, the matters which include the materials such as kitchen waste, garden waste, then farmyard waste, crop residues, followed by again dairy waste or industrial waste. Now, this is what the food on which the Yersinia fetida or the earthworm which is commonly feeding. Now, after that, the life cycle of Yersinia fetida. Now, the fertilization which takes place through the clitellum. Now, the clitellum is what is the wider, thicker set of ring, right, which is present in front or the anterior body of the worm. Now, such a clitellum which is developed only in case of adult worms, and in case of young ones or immature worms, such a clitellum which is not developed or which is not present. Now here, the clitellum glands which produce a capsule, and such a capsule which is known as a spermatophore. I think this spermatophore we discussed in previous lecture also, right? So such a spermatophore which is yellow or greenish in color and which measures near about 3 to 4 in size, and now such a spermatophore which is pear shaped. Now, after 14 to 21 days of incubation, depending on the climatic conditions, environmental conditions, the little worm they emerge from the capsule, right? So the young ones they come out from the capsule when the conditions, the climatic conditions they are favorable. Now, such a young ones, such a hatchlings, okay, they are slightly pale in their body color as compared to their adult. Okay, now such a young ones they are pale in color, and their number which ranges either from 2 to 21, and but the body size which is near about 1 length. Okay, means what they are very small, right? And they measures near about 1 in their body length. After that, from the moment of its birth, the worms they are self-sufficient. Means what? After coming out from their cocoon, their case, okay, they are start feeding, right? So there is no any kind of such a kind of parental care, okay. So immediately after coming from their case, okay, they start feeding and they eat alone, and only but okay, there is a specific need that their requirement is the substrate or the soil which is feeding on that earthworm, or such a tiny ones, okay, such a substrate should be, okay, and which is tender enough for their little mouth, okay. Now after that, at a 15 days of span, 15 days of interval, such a worms, okay, they measures, they increase slightly in their body size in between 12 to 15 and they have a pale pink in color. Means what? The previous color which is very pale, okay, which turn towards the dark or towards the pale pink. Now after 90 days, the worm attains dark red coloration. That is the actual coloration of the adult. Now, and here one more characteristic feature in case of adult is that the development of the clitellum. Okay, previously I already told you the clitellum which is not developed in case of young ones, in case of immature. But as the age advances, okay, or what we say is that such a young ones they become adult, okay, that time only the clitellum which get developed. Okay, now means what? It is an indication that such a worms they become sexually mature. Okay, now here the body which increase in its size being from 3 centimeters. Okay, so you can see the difference. Initially stage they are in between 1 mm. Okay, and up to the adult they attains its original size which is centimeter. Now at the 7 month it has already its final size which is 8 to 10 centimeters. Means what we say is that the adult worm which measures the body size which is 8 to 10 centimeters and its body weight which is 1 gram. Okay, so what we say is that its lifespan which is near about 16 years. Okay, now so here the body weight of such a adult which is 1 gram means what? Whatever the soil which is feeding which is equivalent to its weight. Okay, now depending on the environmental conditions, food and care, a couple of worm which can produce up to can see very large number that is near about 3000 individuals, okay, annually. Means within a period of 1 year a couple of worm which can produce near about 3000 numbers of their progeny. And again what we say is that here, okay, you can see in this diagram, this is the diagram of the life cycle of Escherichia fetida. In you can see at the very first stage, this is the process of mating or the copulation, okay, where the exchange of gametes takes place, okay, and after that you can see the second stage that is the formation of cocoon, okay, cocoon fertilization or the formation of cocoon, followed by the next step. This is the incubation phase. Okay, again such an incubation phase which lasts for near about 23. Again, depending on the climatic conditions, right? Such a incubation phase which may prolong or which may from which the young ones they come out, they emerge. Okay, you can see in the next diagram here. The hatchlings they come out from the cocoon depending on again the favorable climatic. And here in the next diagram you can also see the formation of the adult. Okay, this is the very big span which ranging from either here about 3 months or what we say is that up to 90. But here the adult worm which measures near about 8 to 10 centimeter in its body length and the body coloration which is dark red in color. Okay, and that is why we are saying such a worm as a red worm also. Okay, regaling worm, red worm. Okay, that this part we already discussed in previous. Okay, now here the terrestrial worm can be used as a vermicompost. Now here the red worm that is Escherichia fetida, and it has certain reason why we are selecting such a worm. Okay, for vermicompost purpose. Here because it has a specific choice or it has a it is a prolific breeder. Okay, the points such as here you can see the first point is the longevity. Means what? The lifespan of such a worm which is 16 years means which is very big, which is very large enough for the culture. After that, the second point here, such a worm which is hermaphrodite in nature means what? Which cannot self pollinate, but for their production of their progeny, they required a cross fertilization. Okay, and what we say is that the earthworm which shows or which is a hermaphroditic in nature and which is very prolific. Okay, after that it is very voracious feeder, right? The earthworm which is very voracious feeder and which is continuously feeding on soil. Now each individual ingests daily an amount of organic material which is equivalent to its weight. Okay, now here the weight of the adult worm is what? Near about 1 gram. And what I'm going to say you, it eat the food okay, equivalent to its body weight. Means what? It can eat near about 1 gram of soil throughout the day. Okay, now their droppings, okay, after the feeding, okay, after the process of digestion, okay, because the length of the body of worm which is very long, and that is why the alimentary canal, the intestine which is long, okay, and here what we say is that after the process of digestion, okay, now the worm which deposit its droplet, okay, or what we say is that it is the vermicompost. Now the droppings, the vermicompost which is up to 60% of their daily intake, and which is a high quality product, a high quality of organic product. Now the red worm which normally lives in warm climates, and their body temperature which ranges normally from 19 degree to 20 degree centigrade. Now this is what regarding its vital cycle. Now after we can discuss regarding its physiology. Now the physiology which includes the humidity, then light, then pH. Okay, certain kind of pH is required for their development, for their reproduction, for their respiration. Okay, now after that temperature and area. Again we can see discuss these points one by one. The point is that moisture and aeration. Okay, so moisture and aeration. Okay, these are the two closely related factors. Okay, they required for the development or continuous cycle of the earth. Okay, in our field also or in natural environmental condition. Okay, suppose if the soil is soggy, okay, in the field, okay, if okay heavy rainfall is there, then what happens? The soil which becomes soggy, right? Suppose if the soil is soggy, then the water droplets they moves the air bubbles, okay, and this why this is so? Because there is lack of oxygen. This air is not there, and that is why the air bubbles they come out from the, okay. So along with the oxygen, ventilation is also not proper. Now the both factors, okay, that is moisture and aeration, they influence, okay, the activities of earthworm, the activities such as food intake, followed by the respiration as well as the process of reproduction also. Now for the survival of the worm, the humidity should be between specific, that is 70% to 80%. Now if the soil which is soaked with the humidity above 80%, okay, which has a low quantity of oxygen, or what we say is that the insufficient oxygen is there, or due to this, okay, the lack of ventilation or lack of oxygen, okay, it makes the feed uh, intake decrease, or what we say is that it reduces the intake of the food. Okay, now here in that way, in that period, okay, such a worm which undergoes a process of latency, or what we say is that latency or such a kind of dormancy, okay, if the favorable conditions are not available, the worm which always undergoes a process of the latency. Now in latency uh, period, okay, in that period the vermicompost which is not produced, again the process of breeding which is going to stop, and here the worm which shows the process of maturation, and here the capsules they get increase in size, or simply what you have to remember, okay, if the climatic conditions are not favorable, or if the relative humidity is not proper or in between 70 to 80%, okay, what happens? The worm which undergoes the process of latency, and in the phase of latency, okay, which cannot reproduce or which cannot form the vermicompost, okay. Now after that, the humidity below 70%, which is again unfavorable, or what we say is that this is the unfavorable condition. Now if the substrate is too dry, means what? Here the soil, suppose the soil is soggy, that time again the oxygen is insufficient, and if the soil is too dry, then what happen? The soil is again uh, not good for the survival of the body of worm. How it is, you can see, if the substrate is too dry, it is difficult to slip through the animal habitat and the animal food in, right? So how worm can take its food if the soil is dry, which cannot crawl on the surface of the soil. Okay, now, and the humidity level below 55 and above 95, which is what we say is that it is deadly to the earthworm. Okay, means suppose the humidity below 55%, okay, relative humidity below the 55%, then what happens? Okay, the worm which undergoes the process of latency, and if it is exceeds up to 95%, again the worm which undergoes the process of latency. Or what we say is that if again such a conditions are not favorable, then it is deadly to the earthworm. Means if okay such a conditions they persist for longer period, then the worm which what we say is that which is going to die. Okay, after that the temperature. Now the temperature which considered optimal for the worm development and which ranging from 18 degree to 25 degree. Okay, when the temperature which drops below the 15 degree, the worm which enter again a period of latency. Okay, where which reduces its activity, or what we say is that here which slows down its activity. Okay, now then they can stop the reproduction. Okay, so that I already discussed with you. If the worm which undergoes a process of latency, then what happens? Okay, which slows down the breeding, or what we say is that it can stop reproduction, which can stop its growth or growing. Then here the spermatophores they do not hatch. Okay, means what? Here all the processes they are going to stop in the period of latency. Now the temperature which is above 35 or above 40 degree or below 4 degree, okay, which is again fatal to the animal, which is again fatal to the worm. Now after the light, okay, now in nature the earthworm which moves in the field through the tunnels, okay, and they dig, okay, they make tunnels, they dig the soil and enter into the soil, okay, and searching the wetland. Okay, now therefore, okay, here in the period of heavy rain, okay, they are again found under the stones. Now here such a earthworm which is photophobic in, okay, now why it is photophobic? Because the ultraviolet rays of sun, okay, that will kill the animal, okay, in a few seconds. Okay, now so they have the sensor, okay, to detect the frequency of light. Okay, they have sensory cells, okay, they are present on their skin. Okay, what we say is that here they have sensors or such a sensory cells, they are present on the integument on the surface of the skin of such which help them to identify the source of light and feel the intensity of light. Now, on the other hand, the direct sunlight increases the temperature of the habitat, all right? So, which reaching lethal the temperature if the animal which has no change or escaping. Okay, means again, suppose the worm which detect the high temperature and which cannot try to escape from that region, then what happens? Ultimately, such a worm, okay, which is going to die. Now, again the last factor, that is pH. Here, the worm which lives in substrate with the pH that is 5 to 4 point, 8.4, and outside this range, the worm which enters again a stage of latency. Now the acid pH in the substrate that is more than 7, which can develop a paste. Okay, suppose the pH which is more than 7, okay, in that condition, okay, inside the body of such a worm, a parasite, okay, a particular parasite that is planaria, okay, planaria which is going to develop inside the body of worm, okay, within a pH, okay, which is ranging from or either more than 7. Now in previous lecture we already discussed regarding the vital cycle of the Eisenia foetida, and now in today we are all discussing regarding the all about its alimentation, its fecundity, temperature, humidity, okay, all these conditions, okay, if they are not favorable for the development, okay, so I already discussed here such a worm which undergoes a process of or a period of latency, or this is not good for the process of vermi technology or for the process of vermiculture. So you should keep remember these all points when you are performing uh, the actual procedure of such a rearing in your practicals. Okay, so thank you so much.